I'm Young Buzz. Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the biggest stories in K-pop and really break them down together. Today, we've got one of the spiciest topics making rounds online, and honestly, it's a little messy. We're talking about the viral plagiarism controversy involving BLACKPINK and EXO. Yes, you heard that right. Two of the biggest names in K-pop are being dragged into a debate that's blowing up everywhere. So here's what happened. On September 8th, EXO dropped their comeback teaser, and fans immediately started comparing it to a poster BLACKPINK released for their 8th anniversary back in August last year. Both designs feature an eclipse-style concept where light spills around the edges in a dramatic, almost cosmic way. Now, eclipse imagery in itself isn't new. It's been used in album covers, posters, and even movies for decades. But fans pointed out that the specific angle, the composition, and the overall vibe of the two designs looked a little too close for comfort. And of course, the internet being the internet, it didn't take long for side-by-side comparisons to go viral. Suddenly, everyone was zooming in, analyzing every detail, and asking the big question: did SM Entertainment copy BLACKPINK's concept? The reactions have been pretty intense. Some fans outright said, "No, seriously, they just straight up copied this." Others laughed it off with comments like, "LMAO, I can't wait to see what kind of excuses people come up with to defend this." And then you've got the classic, SM being SM, as usual. That one really made me pause because it shows how much of a reputation the company already has when it comes to these kinds of accusations. But here's what I find really interesting. Not everyone thinks it's plagiarism. Some people argue that eclipse-style designs are common in promotional materials and that it's unfair to claim one group owns the concept. And they're not wrong. There's no copyright on the moon, right? But the counter-argument is that the similarities between these two posters go beyond just the general idea. Fans pointed out that even the way the light spreads around the eclipse is nearly identical, and that the differences, like flipping the direction or changing the color, feel minimal at best. One fan even wrote, "The way they just change the color and flip the direction makes it look so cheap." Ouch! That's not just criticism of the design, it's criticism of the creativity behind it. And I think that's what really stings for people. Now, let's pause here and think about this together. Do you think fans are overreacting? Or do you think they have a point? Because personally, I see both sides. On one hand, design trends are cyclical. Certain aesthetics come and go, and sometimes artists and companies are going to land on similar visuals just by coincidence. On the other hand, when you're dealing with groups as massive as BLACKPINK and EXO, originality matters more than ever. People expect something iconic, something that sets them apart, not something that looks recycled. I'll be real with you guys. I don't think this is a case of blatant plagiarism. I don't think someone at SM sat there like, okay, let's copy BLACKPINK's anniversary poster. But I do think it shows a lack of boldness, a lack of pushing creative boundaries. If you're going to release a teaser for a group as legendary as EXO, why play it safe with a design that already reminds people of another group's poster? Why not innovate and give us something truly memorable? And let's not ignore the fact that part of this outrage comes from the fandom rivalry. Whenever two massive groups are involved, especially from different companies, things get magnified. Blinks and EXO-Ls are some of the most passionate fandoms out there. So of course, the comparisons and criticisms are going to blow up faster than if this happened with smaller groups. But this also makes me wonder, do we as fans sometimes put too much pressure on companies to deliver mind-blowingly original concepts every single time? Or do you think that expectation is fair, considering how much influence and money these groups generate? Personally, I think the expectation is fair. These are global acts with massive resources behind them. When your name is BLACKPINK or EXO, you're not just competing in Korea. You're competing on the world stage, and originality becomes part of your brand. If fans start feeling like you're recycling ideas, even if it's unintentional, that trust gets shaken. But here's another angle I want to throw at you guys. What if the similarity isn't even that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things? What if we're so focused on the visuals that we're missing the bigger picture? The music, the performance, the message of the comeback. I mean, Is a teaser poster really worth all this drama? Or is it just a symptom of the way fandom culture thrives on these debates? I'd love to know what you guys think, because for me, it's hard to separate the design itself from the expectations we've built around these groups. Maybe if this was a rookie group, people wouldn't care as much. But because it's EXO, every little detail gets magnified. And here's the thing. When it comes to visuals in K-pop, they're not just decoration, they're storytelling tools. A teaser poster sets the tone for a comeback. It gives fans something to anticipate, analyze, and connect with before the music even drops. So if that visual looks too much like something we've already seen, especially from another mega group, it feels like a missed opportunity. That's why some fans said they felt disappointed. One even wrote, "Whether it's the world building or deeper meaning, I think it just leaves people feeling disappointed." That word, disappointed, really hits harder than angry or mad, because disappointment means fans wanted to be amazed. They expected something more, and they didn't get it. And let's be real, this isn't the first time SM Entertainment has faced accusations like this. From concepts to stage designs, people often say SM has a habit of reusing or borrowing ideas. Some call it strategy, others call it laziness. What's your take on that? Because for me, I feel like a company with SM's resources should be leading the way creatively, not following behind. But I want to flip the perspective for a second. What if SM really did think this was different enough? What if they saw the eclipse design as symbolic for EXO, representing a new chapter or rebirth? It could be pure coincidence that BLACKPINK used something similar a year earlier. But does intent even matter at this point, when fans already see the resemblance? That's the tricky part. Sometimes perception overshadows reality. This controversy also raises a bigger question about originality in K-pop. How much of what we see is truly new? Concepts get recycled, aesthetics trend, and let's be honest, there are only so many ways to design an eclipse. So where do we draw the line between inspiration and plagiarism? Between coincidence and copy-paste? Personally, I think what bothers fans isn't just the design itself, but the pattern. If it feels like companies keep playing it safe or repeating things we've already seen, it chips away at the magic of K-pop. Because one of the things that makes K-pop special is how bold and experimental it can be. Think about some of the most iconic eras. What made them memorable was their originality. But now, let's talk about the fandom angle again. This is where it gets messy. Blinks feel protective of BLACKPINK's legacy. EXO-Ls want to defend their group from accusations, and the rest of the internet, they're just watching with popcorn. Sometimes I wonder if controversies like this blow up not because of the actual issue, but because of the rivalry dynamics between fandoms. What do you think? So let me ask you guys directly. Do you think EXO's teaser really crossed the line into plagiarism? Or is this just a coincidence being blown out of proportion? And even if it was just similar by accident, do you think SM should have caught it before releasing it? For me, the answer is yes. Even if it's not intentional, part of a creative team's job is to check what's already out there, especially when you're dealing with groups of this size. If it looks too close to something another top-tier group already used, maybe pivot to a different concept. That's what would have saved all this drama. But here's the twist. This controversy might actually help both groups in the end. People who weren't even paying attention to EXO's teaser are now looking it up. People who forgot about BLACKPINK's anniversary poster are now revisiting it. Sometimes, controversies fuel more attention than clean releases. The question is that good attention or bad attention? In the end, I think this whole debate shows just how high the bar is for K-pop now. Fans expect not just good music, but originality in every single detail, from posters to outfits to choreography. And while that can be stressful for the companies, it also shows how deeply invested fans are in their group's artistic identity. So was it plagiarism? Personally, I'd say no. It was unoriginal, maybe lazy, but not outright theft. But was it disappointing? Yeah, definitely. And maybe that's the bigger issue. Not whether something was copied, but whether it lived up to the standard of creativity that fans have come to expect. Now I want to know what you think. Do you feel like this was a copy or just a coincidence? Are fans being too harsh? Or do companies like SM need to step up their game when it comes to originality? Let's get a real discussion going in the comments, because I know this topic is going to have a lot of different opinions. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into the biggest K-pop controversies, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Anyang Buzz, and hit the notification bell so you're always updated when the next story drops. Until next time, this has been Anyang Buzz, and I'll catch you in the next video.